We are going to get on the ice right now, actually, with one of New Zealand's, he's called the king of curling, really. His name is Peter Becker, and he's in the Maniatoto, and I believe Peter's on the line now. Hi, Peter.
Hello, how are we?
Hello, good. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. I've been talking to a lot of people that I don't normally talk to.
It sounds like you're a media darling today.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure why, but anyway.
Oh, well, something very big has just happened. The World Curling Federation has announced that you are one of 5 new inductees into the World Curling Hall of Fame, and you're the first New Zealander to receive this honour.
Yes, that's exactly what's happened, and thank you very much for the congratulations. But, yeah, there's a lot of people behind me, of course, in New Zealand that have done a lot, but I seem to have got that plaudit, yeah.
Well, good on you. I mean, when did it first become a passion for you?
I started curling when I left high school, way back in 1967, I think it was, and in those days it was all outside on the natural dams, and the winters were a lot colder then, and my father played it, and my two grandfathers and one great-grandfather, so we go way back as far as the game's concerned.
It's a tradition for your family.
It has been, yeah. Yep.
What a wonderful thing, that it's come through the generations like that.
Yes, I'm not sure how, but, it's still going. My family, my children play quite extensively, and then some of my grandchildren are playing now as well, so that's great.
It's not, it's a sport that relies on the cold, and then, of course, you've got facilities, in Naseby, but you're often, when the big bonspiels happen and you're outside and it must be so atmospheric and amazing, and the temperature's low, and there you are, and the mist is rising up through the valley. Can you describe how it feels to be involved in that?
Yeah, it's very surreal. You don't seem to notice the cold when you're out there, even though it is very cold. It's just the exuberance or the fun that you have seems to generate warmth. You're well rugged up before you start, of course, but
yeah,
it's that sort of a game. It's a game full of camaraderie and everybody looking out for everybody else, and it's a great game. It's a great game.
Plus, there's such a social aspect to it, isn't there?
There is, especially outdoors, but even indoors, that social side is still there. Even to the highest level, when you take it to an Olympics or a World Curling Championships, the people that are involved still have that camaraderie. It still comes through as part of the law of the game, really.
Mm. So it was interesting to read about your reaction when you got the phone call. I heard that you were told in the middle of the night that you were going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was. I picked up my little dose of COVID. It was about 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't sleeping, and so a message came through from the World Curling President. She didn't actually ring through, but she sent a message, and with nothing else to do, I was sort of looking at messages and things, and so that's when I picked it up. Yeah.
And what was your reaction?
Funny enough, it was quite emotional. My late wife left me died 6 years ago, and her face flashed in front of my face when I saw that thing.
Oh, really?
And so I was quite emotional for a while about it.
Oh, I can imagine. Isn't that unbelievable? So you felt her presence there?
Yes, just instant. It's hard to describe. It just was instant, and of course a few tears appeared. They weren't tears of sadness; they were tears of joy, I suppose you'd say, in a way.
Yeah, and I suppose you would have loved to have shared that with her.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. She was a big part of all of our lives and what we've achieved as well, really.
Yeah, just that's kind of wonderful that you had that moment. I suppose that's quite special in a way, even though it would be pretty sad. So you weren't feeling particularly well. So you were struggling with the COVID when you got this news.
That was dead right. I was already at a low point without dragging me down any further.
Yeah, I know.
Not that that dragged me down. I know the world president quite well, and she is from Scotland, and so I wrote back to her and said I was flabbergasted was the word I used.
Right.
And she wrote back and said it was, fully deserved. So
yeah, it's wonderful. And Peter, what does it mean for this sport here in this part of the world, and around the Naseby region? Is it going to attract new people into it, do you think? Will it grow even further?
Well, I hope so. But, it's publicity, and all publicity is good publicity. I think the fact that I've got this award probably won't attract anybody new, but with the new rink, there's a new rink in Alexandra, and they're slowly building numbers, and I'm at Naseby now, and there's people curling here behind me now, just people randoms who come in off the street. So it's happening a lot like that now.
Well, you mean outdoors?
No, indoors.
Indoors. Oh yeah, you're at the rink, right? Yeah.
I'm at the rink.
Right. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a pretty popular place because I remember going there a few years back, and it was busy then, and that was my first experience. And it hooks you in curling, doesn't it?
It does. It's kids as young as 7 or 8 can play it, and people as old as 95 or whatever, and everybody in between. And you can actually play against each other in those things and be competitive against each other. There's not many sports you can say that, but and men and women can be competitive with each other as well.
Yeah, right.
Many sports you can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's true. You must enjoy the Winter Olympics, and watching this, particularly as you've been all around the world with this sport, curling, haven't you, Peter?
Yes, I sure have. I haven't worked it out. I've been to a lot of countries a lot of times. Only cold countries. I don't go anywhere and sit on a beach.
No.
but mostly places that have got a lot of snow.
Yeah, that's funny, actually. I imagine... Fiji's not for you, hey?
No. We've been to the Scandinavian countries and Asian countries and Canada and the United States, all the Northern Hemisphere countries. Australia, we've been a couple of times. They've had it there, and I must admit we did go to the beach a couple of times in Australia, but other than that, it's all pretty cold.
Now, so what's happening with these Youth Olympic Games? You're helping with that, aren't you?
Yes, I have been. The next one, I think, is about 2 years' time. And we start to try and find because there's only certain age limits allowed in those games. So we try and identify the athletes that might want to be, might be good enough to do that at this stage, and we try and pick them up now and then bring them through that 2 years.
Right.
Every 4 years. It's the same as the Olympics, but in the 2 years in between.
So there's a bit of talent spotting you do. I suppose you always got your eye out for the next big thing in the sport of curling.
Exactly, yeah. Well, see, the last one in 2020, the kids got fourth in the world. That was unbelievable. They were so close to getting a medal, it didn't matter. But to even get fourth in the world at that level was brilliant.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. So you wouldn't be travelling with that youth team?
I wasn't travelling with that one. My grandson was in it. I had a grandson in there. But there's two boys and 2 girls, and they play as a team of 4. And then once the 4s competition is finished, they split them up and put all the boys with girls from other countries and girls with boys from other countries. So one of our girls could be playing with somebody from China, and one of the boys could be playing from somebody from Russia or wherever, and then they still play the medal. So it's a great concept, and I hope that they retain it, but I've heard that they may change that.
Right.
just go back to being
why would they?
nationalists again.
Oh, I see. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So New Zealanders would play with New Zealanders, but it's great. It's great to be able to mix them up like that.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be. It would be a fun way to do it because you're meeting people, and it's very international feel about it.
Yeah.
So Peter, are you still working in where are you actually living? Sorry, personal question. Are you in Alice?
I live in Patiroa on a farm.
Oh, where's
which
that?
It's about 10 miles from Ranfurly.
Ah, gotcha. Yep. Okay.
And I've been on the family farm. Mum and Dad were on it before us, and now one of my sons has taken over.
Fantastic.
So been there all my life virtually.
Yeah, and pretty happy in that part of the world.
Oh yes. Yep.
I actually love it. I love it round there. I really look St Bathans, Ophir, where you are, Ranfurly. It's pretty special. Nasby's fun too. It's a fun place to go.
Yeah. My mother was born and raised in St Bathans, and my father, of course, was born and raised in Paturihua, where all the Becker transports, so they're still there. But we've been in Central for a long time.
Yeah. What do you think of it these days? Just I'm digressing a wee bit, but I'm just curious to know, in terms of a lifestyle, it's still a brilliant place to live. It has really held on to its unique character, hasn't it, Peter?
Yes, it has. Yeah, and long may it continue. I think there's more and more people starting to discover that. We're getting sort of a lot of the overflows from Wanaka and Queenstown and places like that now that are coming out and saying, well, this place is pretty good,
Yeah.
So the prices have gone up, and sections are hard to get, and it is making a difference that way. But the farming life is still much the same as it was 50 years ago, so it's still carrying on that way, although we've got a lot more dairying around now maybe, but it's still a great place to live and bring your kids up.
Oh, yeah.
Great place to bring your children up.
Yeah, isn't it? It's just lovely, and I think you're right about Queenstowners because they're fed up and they're feeling like the locals have been here for a very long time are feeling like the town's not theirs anymore anyway. And I know a few people who are section hunting and house hunting up near your neck of the woods. Hopefully not too many.
Yes, no, we know that's going on because we've got people here already that have moved out for that very reason. Just wanted to be somewhere a bit quieter and still have most of the facilities. And
that's right.
And yeah.
Well, you do, and plus it's quite nice because what I find about that is you haven't got. Queenstown's locked in by the Kawerau Gorge, but where you are, it's lovely and open. You still get the stunning mountain vistas, but you can sort of see a lot further into the distance, so don't feel so claustrophobic and hemmed in up there. It feels freer.
Yeah, you're probably right. And they also have, they've started a night sky thing here in Naseby because it's so dark, and they do get such great views of the heavens. And so there's been a sort of a night sky society opened up, and they've got telescopes, and you can view the stars, and they do get some great views, apparently.
Oh, that's great. I think I vaguely heard about that, but thank you for reminding me because I think it's a really good initiative for Naseby.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Good.
That there's laws that you can't have too many bright lights in the streets and things, so they've brought in things to keep it dark, if you know what I mean.
Oh, for sure.
So that you can always see what you want to see.
It's a great spot, 10,000 feet above worry level, isn't it? That's their sign.
Yeah.
I love that.
2,000.
2,000.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a bit away with myself.
No, it's not as high as Mount Cook.
I'm a journalist. I always exaggerate. Good grief. Yeah, that's the problem. I always add GST, right? Hey, Peter, so one quick question before I let you go and do all these various media that you've got to do today. So
TV1 have just walked in.
Have they? Yeah, well, they'll be wanting to put you on. Oh, look, you'll be in demand, but it's a great. Congratulations on getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's absolutely brilliant, and I think there needs to be.
It is really.
There needs to be a statue.
Thank you very much for that.
A statue of you in the town now. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right to be proud of it. So good on you. And one quick question though: when you're curling, there's this myth, right, that everyone's swigging hard whiskey or hard liquor out of sort of little bottles. Is that the case when it's social?
Yeah, the outdoor game is sort of built on that, but the indoor games and that, we don't have any drinks at all until the game's finished, and then we come upstairs to a very respectable lounge and we just drink as if you're in a hotel. But
nice.
The outdoors they do, and it's partly to keep the cold away as much as anything.
Well, you wouldn't blame them, would you?
But it's not, when we tried to get funding in that in the early days, that was one of the criteria that was always against us, that we were sort of a bunch of blokes who went out on the booze all the time, and we don't really. The players are not allowed to drink unless their skip tells them they can have one.
Ah.
So it is well governed. It is governed as well. Like, it's not just open slather. The skip has to say, you take your mate. So if it was the 2 seconds and one of the seconds had thrown a great stone, he said, well, you could take your mate, which is the bloke from the other team, you go away and have a drink and come back to the game. So there's a wee bit more to it than just open slather drinking.
Yeah, you probably drink less than most rugby players.
Probably.
Just quietly.
Probably, and I was a rugby player for a long time as well.
Yeah, well, you'd know. But look, I better let you go and enjoy those interviews today. And Peter, congratulations, and thanks for talking with us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for talking on the platform today. Appreciate it.
No, that's no problem at all.
Take care, Peter. See you soon. Bye-bye. All right, so that was really cool. How nice to start the show off with a curling story. And I wonder if many of you listening have ever played it. It's pretty tremendous. And one thing that I do remember when I first moved to Queenstown, they'd have these bonspiels at the back of Arrowtown when we had some particularly cold winters in the past, but we just don't get them anymore, like Peter said. And they really were a spectacle. It was so exciting to watch this happening. Like you said, it's a surreal event in the cold mist of winter, and it's something quite special that I love about this part of the world.